All right, so y'all can see what I'm talking about for once. Looking at the two bolts on this starter, one right there, one right there. From the top side, you reach through the fender, you undo the switch from the ignition, and then the battery positive wire right there, and that's all it takes to take this thing out. It's super easy to work on, but ooh, sorry about your ears. What I'm talking about is I wanted to tell you that that Ultima starter was a hunk of junk, and it may be, I don't know for sure, but I think what the problem was going to be the bolts. So the Ultima starter did not come with new bolts. I used the bolts that were in here, and I should have known they looked shady. The bolt that was on this side was longer than it was supposed to be. It had washers on it for some reason, and I was thinking maybe because of threads. Here are the two bolts. Here's the one I was talking about that had washers on it. That should have been my giveaway, that this thing has been rigged up some. But believe it or not, that wasn't part of the problem, because that bolt was actually holding down pretty good. It was this bolt here that had backed off. And like I said, these bolt heads are different sizes. This was a 14 and this one was a 16, neither of which were the are common Chevy sizes, so I should have known. I think what ended up happening was this bolt on the far side, just the camera here, but the bolt on the far side over here, when I put the other one in, it felt like it just wanted to keep tightening down, like the bolt wasn't bottoming out, but I felt like I was putting too much stress on the threads, so I didn't go super tight. This was the one that backed out and wouldn't bottom down, and why it wouldn't bottom out I don't know, because I held it side by side on the new bolts, and it's the same size, but for some reason torquing on it, I could definitely tell a difference on the new bolts. I went as tight as I felt comfortable, but I also put some orange thread locker up there to help. There we go. Here's the orange thread locker I was talking about. I don't know how good it is. I bought it 2 or 3 years ago. It sits in the top tray of my tool cart, which is out here in the sun and baking, so I don't know how good this is, and I basically squeezed out what few drops were left in it. Putting these new bolts in, I can tell that they bottomed out and really cinched down. I was able to put some good torque into it when it bottomed out. I was able to put some good torque on my ratchet. Just feeling, when you do enough torquing on stuff, you have an idea about how much torque to put on something before something snaps. And I put a decent amount on these two bolts here. They felt great. They felt like they actually bottomed out in the hole of the block. So fingers crossed that bolt was the issue. It had come loose and allowed this starter to come backwards or fall down, however you want to look at it, and not fully engage the gear on the starter with the flywheel gear. And you can look at the flywheel. The light's behind me. Let me adjust the light for you. But the flywheel, there's no marring on it, so the Ultima starter that the guy put on, who I bought the truck from, was making a grinding noise. It sounded hellacious toward the end. That was my fault, trying to start the truck on a pretty much dead battery with jumper cables. That one's on me. The next starter I got was also the same model, Ultima. They were both brand new. Put it in, and I hadn't put 2 days on it, and it just completely, I think that bolt backed out and it went to just grinding. Like, it wasn't turning the motor over any, it was just straight grinding. I think it was just barely touching the flywheel and grinding, but there's no grind marks on the flywheel that I can see anywhere up there. Fingers crossed. I'm gonna hook the wires up, we'll give this thing a start, and I think it's gonna solve our issue. Like I preach in all my videos, always verify your work. So we still had the truck lifted up, we're inside. I reconnected the negative cable. Fingers crossed it doesn't sound like gears. Oh man, super clean. That's how it's supposed to sound. That's how it's supposed to sound. I hadn't heard it sound like that, well, not sound bad in a long time. That's kind of what my 1500 sounds like, 5.3. Oh yeah. All right, fingers crossed. I'm gonna use this truck today and basically the rest of the week, but I think tomorrow or probably Friday, because what's today, Tuesday? Yeah, Friday I'm gonna climb back under there, or shoot, probably tomorrow, just to be sure, and I'm gonna put my ratchet on them bolts, make sure they ain't coming loose. Appreciate y'all watching.